How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Upstate Angling. Today, I've got a video for you that's going to be my top 3 multi-species fishing lures. If you guys have been around the channel for a while, you guys know usually we're doing sit-down videos for bass fishing, for different scenarios and whatnot, and obviously eventually getting outside, but right now we've got about 6 inches of ice and a foot of snow on everything. So we're kind of limited to these sit-down videos. I know they're kind of boring, but that's all we can do at this point. So multi-species angling is something Andrew and I have done for a while. We don't just target bass, we'll target bass, trout, bluegill, crappie. We'll target just about anything that we can catch. So these baits might not catch every species, but these are definitely going to catch you a lot of different types of fish. The first bait I want to talk about is a bait not a lot of people really realize, and that's a blade bait. Most people think, it's a great bait for cold water bass fishing, and it is, but these are really good for multi-species, any kind of predator fish. It's a pretty small profile. It's about a 2-inch profile. What you can do, this is heavy. This is the 10,000 fish Death Stalker, and it's 5/8 of an ounce. It's literally just a hunk of metal. What you can do, it'll sink to the bottom fast, and you can just rip it up, and it'll vibrate really aggressively, almost like a chatterbait. Then it'll just flutter back down. So it just imitates a small dying bait fish, and everything eats a small dying bait fish. These are a great bait if you're fishing in a spillway or a river, especially where there's lots of current, because it's a very heavy bait and it will do well in the current and it won't just get swept away. Moving on to the next bait, and this is going to be just a pretty simple one. It's just a jig head with a small plastic, like a grub. So there are a few different types of plastics you can put on a jig head. This is just like a 1/16 ounce. This is the heaviest I'll use, usually for multi-species. Usually if I'm using a jig head and a grub, it's mainly for bluegill, perch, crappie, trout, creek chubs. I've caught a ton of creek chubs on just a jig head and a grub. I'll use anywhere from a 64th ounce head to a 16th ounce head, depending on what depth I'm fishing. So generally, the best all around is a grub. The colors I've had the most luck on are like a yellow and like a chartreuse. But you can also throw on something like this, which is more suited for maybe suspending it under a bobber, because just slight twitches will make that tail move. But a grub I found to be the most versatile, because you can swim it, you can hop it, you can just drag it, and you can catch them any which way in any part of the water column. Especially with small fish like trout and smaller bluegill will just never stop shaking, which if you're using a treble hook bait, that can be really dangerous because you can really easily get a treble hook in the hand. But this, you don't have to worry about that. It's a really simple bait, and there are tons of different ways to fish it. I mean, I've caught largemouth, crappie, bluegill, perch, pumpkin seed, rock bass, white perch. You can catch just about anything on a little grub. Generally, anything over 12 to 15 inches isn't going to target a super small bait like this, but you never know. So moving right along into the final bait, and this is going to be some kind of small crankbait or jerkbait. This is the Rapala Floater, my personal favorite multi-species bait. This is the size 5. It's 2 inches, and specifically I really like the gold color. Just simple gold with a black back and a little bit of red under the nose. And these things just catch everything. I actually caught my first smallmouth on one of these. I caught 2 rock bass in one cast on this exact bait right here. Obviously it doesn't have to be the Rapala Floater. There's some other models here. This is the Rapala Husky Jerk, also in the size 5. And I really like this glass minnow color. Well, one, it's reflective. So if you're fishing clear water, sunny days, there's a little strip right there. It's going to kind of light up and make it easier for those fish to see. This is definitely a lot more of a jerkbait than the Rapala Floater. The Rapala Floater you can just straight retrieve and it's really good. The Husky Jerk is definitely more of a jerkbait, where you'll kind of have to give it a jerk and a pause. But you can see it's very light and it's very small, so this can just stay really close to the surface. Sometimes it'll actually hit the surface and kind of wake. And it's just like with the blade bait, it imitates like a dying 2-inch bait fish, and anything is going to eat that. I had a couple sessions fishing with this earlier this year where you could throw it out and I'd be getting hit or swiped at every cast. So these can be absolutely lights out. Another model, this is a Yozuri Pins minnow. Same deal, just a little bit narrower profile. And another thing is similar. This is a tiny crankbait. This is the Yozuri Snap Pea, just really tiny. I actually caught a nice creek chub on this bait. If I'm going out anywhere with the intention of catching multiple different species, one of these baits is always tied on. So there are some honorable mentions, because obviously these baits aren't necessarily going to catch everything. If you want to fish for more like pike and muskie, jerkbaits are another great option. Here's another Rapala. This is the Shadow Wrap jerkbait, but really any jerkbait that'll get walleye, pike, more toothy fish and more predator fish to bite. Yeah, there's a quick little video for you guys on my favorite multi-species baits. I hardly go anywhere fishing without one of these baits tied on. So I really recommend you guys try out some of these baits, you know? If you guys like multi-species angling, I think these are must-haves. But if you don't like multi-species angling, you should pick up some of these baits and try it, because it's really fun. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys like the content, like multi-species angling, make sure to hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and drop down in the comments. Tell me what your favorite multi-species bait is. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.